So practice question number 1 says, suppose you save 4,000 per year at the end of each year for 3 years and earn 5% interest per year. How much will you have at the end of 3 years? So first let's see what is our data. So you're saving 4,000 per year. The per year is hinting you that this might be an annuity question. At the end of each year is telling you that it is ordinary, and yes, we know that when will the annuity end. So now we are sure that this is an annuity question because the 3 characteristics are there. The payment is equal, the distance is equal between each payment, and you know when the payment is going to end. So this 4,000 per year is the PMT. N is 3 over here and R is 5%. We need to find out the future value. Now for this we are going to directly use the annuity formula now. So the future value annuity formula. Yes, so the formula is future value annuity is equals to PMT 1 plus R power n minus 1, and then we have R over here. So the PMT is 4,000, so we have 4,000 over here. The rate is 5%, so I'm going to write 0.05. N is 3. 0.05 minus 1. First I'm going to solve the bracket. So if you solve this, your answer is coming. Okay, let me erase. 3.1525. So again, this value in the bracket is called the future value annuity factor. I've said this before as well, I'm repeating it once again. Future value annuity factor. Now if you multiply this, you get so this is the future value annuity. You see, instead of calculating the 4,000 3 times, we just used this formula and it gave us the 4,000 value together. I'll also explain this through a timeline. So what has happened over here is so this is how your cash flow will look like. You have 4,000 at the end of each year, and you want to know its future value at the end of the 3rd year. So you want the future value over here. Now instead of taking each cash flow ahead like this, what we have done, we have calculated for all of them together. So you don't even have to think that should I use the power 2, should I use the power 1. You simply have to see how many years is the annuity lasting. If the annuity is for 3 years, the n will be 3. If the annuity is for 5 years, and the n will be 5. Now all of the working has also been provided to you in the slide so that you can later on look at them. Now this is practice question number 2. So in this it says, suppose you save 4,000 per year at the end of each year for 3 years and earn 5% interest per year. What will be the present value of your savings? So in this question you need to find out now the present value instead of the future value. So we're going to solve this question through both formulas, from the single cash flow formula as well and from the present value annuity factor annuity formula as well. so that you can see that both formulas will give you the same answer, but the annuity formula is a shorter way of doing it. I'm going to first make a timeline. So you have 4,000 at the end of each year, but now you want to find its present value. So you want to know what is the present value of these cash flows. Present value means you want to find out the value at time 0. So we're going to use the present value formula. Write it over here. So first I'm using the single cash flow formula. Now the future value, the first future value is 4,000. Remember, in single cash flow you need to treat each cash flow separately. The rate is 5%. Again, now the question is, what should be n over here? Remember, in present value you're going towards time 0, so you're going to bring back this value 1 year, so the power will be 1 over here. You need to remember the direction that you're going while calculating future value or present value. In future value you go this way, and in present value you're coming backwards, you're coming towards time 0. Similarly, you're going to do it for the second cash flow, 4,000, 1.05. So I've just added it, 1 plus 0.05, and this will have power 2 because this is going to come back 2 years, 1 and 2, plus we have 4,000, the last one, and this one is going to come back 3 years, 1, 2 and 3. So if you calculate this, you will find out the present value. So let me do it for you. So the first cash flow has a present value of 3809. So I've rounded it off, 3809. The second one has a value of 3628, and the third one has a value of 4,000. So now let's try to understand what's happening over here. If I have space, enough space, so 3, 4, 5, 5. Okay. Now this 4,000, because it is coming 1 year later, according to right now, it doesn't have the same value. 4,000 1 year later is not going to be the same as 4,000 right now, because we have already discussed that money right now, 1 rupees right now is going to have more value 1 rupees 2 years later or 1 rupees 3 years later. It's the same concept. 4,000 1 year later is equivalent to 3809 rupees right now in terms of purchasing power. Similarly, 4,000 rupees 2 years later is equivalent to 3628 rupees right now. And 4,000 rupees, if you are getting it 3 years later, it's the same as getting 3455 rupees right now. So if somebody offers you 3455 rupees right now, or 4,000 rupees 3 years later, it has the same value. So the present value of this cash flow will come after summing all of these cash flows. So you've brought all of the cash flows at time 0. You have discounted all of them. You can simply add all 3 of them to find out the present value at time 0. So if we add them, 3809 plus 3628 plus 3455. This is the present value of this cash flow. So you are actually getting 4,000, so that is 12,000, right? So 4,000 plus 4,000 is 8,000, 8,000 plus 4,000 is 12,000. So you are getting 12,000, but this 12,000 is coming in future years at different time intervals. So So this 12,000 is not the same as giving you 12,000 right now. That's why we need to find out the present value. This 12,000 that you're getting is equivalent to 10,892 rupees right now. So if somebody offers you 11,000 rupees right now, you should take them, because that will have actually more value than the 12,000 given to you over the 3 years. Now we are going to use the annuity formula, and you will see that you will still get the same answer, and that formula is more easy to use and it's a shorter way of doing your questions. So I'm going to erase all of this. So our data is that the PMT is 4,000, the N is 3 years, the R is 5%, and we want to find out the present value. So for this purpose, we are going to use the present value formula. So over here we have a PMT of 4,000. The interest rate is 5%. N is 3. So again, I'm going to solve the bracket first. So this is going to come to 0.7232. Now this is called the present value annuity factor. This is your present value annuity factor, this bracket over here. Once you're calculating future value, it's future value annuity factor. But if you're calculating present value, it's then your present value annuity factor. $10,893 is the present value of this cash flow if you calculate it directly to the formula. In that we got an answer of 10,892. So the difference is coming because of rounding off. So moving ahead. Now this practice question says that you wish to retire in 40 years and are planning to save 5,000 per year to accumulate enough amount in order to live comfortably after retirement. How much money will you have saved upon retirement if the interest rate is 6%? Now you can see that no longer are the wordings that clear. So it doesn't say clearly that whether this is a payment or whether you need to find out the present value or the future value. They have just given you a scenario. You need to figure out yourself whether you are required to calculate the present or the future value and what is provided to you. So let's read the question again. You wish to retire in 40 years. So I'm going to make a timeline. So you wish to retire in 40 years and you're planning to save 5,000 per year to accumulate enough amount in order to live comfortably after retirement. So you're going to be saving this amount. Of course, you won't be saving it after retirement, right? You will be saving it right now so that once you're 40 years old, you can use that amount later on. So which means from time 0 to 40 you will be saving 5,000 every year. So at the end of first year you will be saving 5,000, second year also 5,000, third year 5,000, and so on. You will keep on saving till you are 40 years old. I hope this much is clear. I'm going to repeat it once again. So you wish to retire in 40 years and planning to save 5,000 per year. So 5,000 is going to be saved every year to accumulate enough amount in order to live comfortably after retirement. You will retire once you are 40 years old. So that means every year you are depositing 5,000. Now how much will you have saved upon retirement? So you will retire at the age of 40. It's asking you how much would you have saved upon retirement if the interest rate is 6%. Okay, and the rate is 6%. So now if you look at the data, it means you know that the PMT is 5,000. You also know that N is 40 and R is 6%. And you need to find out the value at age 40. So you need to find out the future value. Present value is at time 0. We're supposed to find out the future value over here. So you have all of your data now. Now you just need to plug in the information in the formula. So the formula that you will use for this is the future value annuity formula, because you want to find out the future value. The PMT is 5,000 and 6% was the rate, and your N was 40. So if you solve this, 773810, this is the amount you will have saved upon your retirement, which you can use later on. Now moving ahead to the next question. You believe you will need to have saved 500,000 by the time you retire in 40 years in order to live comfortably after retirement. Usually it helps if you start drawing your timeline with it. The timeline is for your own understanding, and I would recommend that you make it, because it really makes sure that you do not make any mistake, because then you have a visual representation of the question. So you believe you will need to have saved 500,000 by the time you retire in 40 years. So once you have retired at the age of 40, you will need 500,000. So you have this value. If the interest rate is 6%, how much must you save each year to meet your retirement goal? Now you need to think, what is the value that is provided to you and what are they asking you? It says how much must you save each year to meet your retirement goal. The word each year is telling you that it is asking about your PMT. हर साल आप कितना सेव करोगे कि आपके पास 500,000 रुपीज़ जमा हो जाए by the age of 40. So in this question you don't have your PMT. How much amount are you saving every year? And this is your future value. The future value has been provided to you. So let's again gather our data. We know that the future value is 500,000. We know that we are going to save for 40 years. So there will be 40 payments. We know that the interest rate is 6%, but we don't know the saving amount. How much are we saving each year for this? So we need to find out the PMT. Now, whenever you have a question that asks you to calculate the PMT, understand this, that the formula that you will use depends upon whether the question provides you with the present value or the future value. What I mean by this, let's go back to the formulas. Yes, let me go back to the formula. So these are our formulas. Let me erase all of this. So you can see that PMT can be derived from the future value formula, and it can also be derived from the present value formula. So you can use both of the formulas to calculate PMT. But which formula you will use depends upon whether the question has provided you with the future value or the present value. If the other value provided in the question is future value, you will have to use this formula. In that case, if you're using the present value formula, you will get an incorrect answer. Similarly, if the question is asking for present value, you will have to use this formula in that case. If the question provides you with the present value, then you will have to use this formula. So let's go back to our question and see what does this mean in that sense. So this is our question over here. You can see that we need to find out the PMT. Okay, so if you are asked to calculate the PMT, you can use the present value formula or the future value formula. But you can't use the present value formula because this isn't provided to you. You are given the future value, so you will use the future value formula for this purpose. So if we use the future value formula, This is a formula that you need to use. You have the future value. Okay, I'm going to show this one step, that's why I'm erasing it. So you have the future value formula over here. So I'm going to plug in the values. This is 500,000. The R was 6%, N was 40. Okay, so again what you need to do is you need to find this PMT over here. So first let's solve this bracket. So if you solve this bracket, so this is coming 154.76. okay, and I will also recommend that you do not round this off really quick. So don't round it off to 2 decimal places, because the more rounding off you do over here, the more your answer will vary. So take as many decimal places as you can. So I'm going to take a lot of decimal places. Now this is multiplying by this PMT over here. We want to find out the PMT, so we're going to keep PMT over here, and we can shift this on the other side. Over here it's multiplying, on the other side it will go into division. So 500,000 divided by 154.7619656. So if you solve this, your PMT is coming 3230.77. So this is the annual payment that you will have to make. Now moving ahead to the next question. So you have retired after 40 years and saved 500,000 in your account. How much amount you will receive per year from the bank for 15 years to spend in your retired life if the interest rate is 10%? So in the first instance, this question might look very similar to the question that you have already done, but you need to be very careful with the wordings over here. Make sure you read the question thoroughly again and again, because even one word's change will change the whole structure of your question. So if you read this again, you have retired after 40 years and saved 500,000 in your account. So okay, so they're saying that you have retired at 40 years and you have saved 500,000 in your account. It still seems the same. How much you will receive per year from the bank account for 15 years? But now it's asking you how much amount you will receive per year from the bank account for 15 years to spend in your retired life. So the question has shifted from the saving period. This was your saving period, right? You were depositing money till you become 40 years old. So now you have shift from the saving period to the retired life. So it's asking you, okay, you are 40 years old. आप 40 years के हो चुके हुए हैं, आपके अकाउंट में 500,000 rupees है. Now tell me how much you will receive per year from the bank. So how much will you receive per year from the bank for 15 years? Okay, so your N is 15 for 15 years. So 40 plus 15 means till the age you are, sorry about that, till you are 55 years old. Okay, and another mistake usually students do is that they use N55. You're not supposed to use N55. Look at how many payments there will be. There will be 15 payments, so your N will be 15. Yes, after 15 years he will be 55 years old, but that is not the number of payments that he will receive. So your annuity, always the N in that formula represents the number of payments, equal payments that there will be. So over here, now what the question is, it says that you are 40 years old, you have 500,000 rupees in your account. Now how much should you withdraw from this 500,000 to for 15 years in your retired life? So again, you need to find out the PMT, right? You need to find out what is the PMT. That's clear from here. But like I already said, that for PMT you need to see that the other value provided to you in the question, is it a present value or is it a future value? So is this a present value or is this a future value? Now this is a value coming 40 years later, so you might assume that this is a future value, but that is incorrect because your question is beginning from here. It says you have retired after 40 years. So this period is no longer present. You are 40 years right now. So actually this time 40, this age 40 is times 0 right now. You are 40 years old. You have retired. So this 500,000 is actually your present value over here. And if you ever get confused about whether a value is a present value or a future value, always remember this. Okay, so what you need to remember is that your present value always comes at time 0, right? That is what we had studied. But now you are saying that the present value is at time 40. So don't think it this way. Think that the present value is always over here. The PMTs are in the middle. And the future value is over here. So if the value is coming after the PMTs, that means you are given the future value in your question. And if the value is coming before the PMTs, it means you are provided with the present value in the question. So over here you can see that the PMTs will come later on and you are provided a value before the PMTs. That means you are provided with the present value over here. So now that we are clear that this 500,000 is the present value and we know that we need to calculate the PMT, we know that the rate is 10% and we know that N is 15, we can use it in the formula. So this will be the solution. The present value is 500,000, the rate is 10% and the N is 15. Again, you are going to solve it in the same way. You will first solve this complete bracket, and because this is multiplying with this value, it will go on the other side and you will divide it. The 500,000 will be divided by that value. So the PMT over here is coming 65737. This is the amount that you will withdraw every year once you are 40 years old. So after you are 40, you will withdraw this much amount every year for the next 15 years. And with this, our annuity topic basically ends. I wouldn't say the annuity topic ends because we still need to discuss annuity due. Our ordinary annuity topic ends. But for this kind of topics, I would recommend that you practice a lot. So because with each question, your concepts will become more clear. If you want to practice more, the practice questions are available on your BLE, and if you still want to practice even more questions, you should always go back to your book and do the end of the chapter questions over there.